And we are live. Good afternoon, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto. And today we have a very special guest. I'm so excited to have him here. I actually just left his facilities. We got a lot to talk about, but first, let me give him a warm welcome and introduction. Introducing JP Baric, who is a 20. Let me go ahead and mute these notifications, folks. You know I'm terrible. Introducing JP Baric, who is a 24-year-old entrepreneur. He's the founder and CEO of Mining Store, which is a Bitcoin mining company that builds and operates large-scale cryptocurrency mining data centers. Mining Store was launched in 2016 with a focus on reducing friction and increasing financial access to the cryptocurrency mining industry. From a young age, JP has always had a passion for being his own boss. Since starting a robotics camp, which we will have to talk about, at only 15 years old, he has created 3 businesses and has led the development of 10 cryptocurrency mining sites. Baric was fond of cryptocurrency as a teenager, where he spent time in school actually playing crypto earning games. You know, we love GameFi here and Play to Earn. JP first purchased Bitcoin in 2012 when he was still in high school, purchasing about $1,400 worth of Bitcoin, was at $70. And the Texas native attended North Carolina State University from 2016 to 2017, where he also interned, or I'm assuming was getting a degree in software development, computer science. Baric claims that the idea to have his own mining rig came from a business plan project he created for his English class. Originally, he developed his own rigs to mine Bitcoin on his own, whereas later he started selling rigs and became a profitable business, which is what led him to leave none other than NCSU. You know, I gotta give a shout out to the alma mater. Other than that, warm round of applause for JP Baric. Welcome to the show. Hey. First, you gotta tell me, did I get anything in the bio wrong? Please correct me if I did.
It all sounded right. It was pretty fast, but a lot of the stuff, I've been working on Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining since high school, and it's just been a journey.
Amazing. Yeah, I wanted to go ahead and just read off, the basis of your bio, so I could spend your time straight up talking mining, because I already know I'm bringing up in the chat right now, like it's going to be mining questions coming your way from every direction. So I was thinking about, I don't want to spend the whole 10 or 15 minutes of background. Let's get into it. But of course, I will ask you, because we ask everybody when they come, if you can tell us, how exactly did the Bitcoin journey start? You just woke up one day, it's Bitcoin. I know what this is. I'm jumping to it. How did that happen?
Yeah, so my Bitcoin journey started as I was a freshman in high school. I found out about Bitcoin on just some sort of news website. I couldn't buy it. Tried to go to Mt. Gox, was too confusing. Like, didn't know how to make an account. Then the price started going up, and so after I saw the price going up, I was like, okay, I want to make sure I get in on this. It's going to be cool. For me, what really drove me to Bitcoin originally was the fact that there was no rules and no one could tell you that you couldn't buy it because you weren't old enough. At that point, I was like barely old enough to get a bank account and wasn't even 18 years old. So I had to use my mom's passport to sign up for Mt. Gox, and then convince her to let me wire my money over there using her bank account and to get in some early crypto. That was my original kind of entrance in the space. Was about 3 months after I found out about it the first time. So crazy experience, considering now where it's come today. It's kind of engulfed a lot of what I do and allowed me to create the company and create the lifestyle that I have today.
And so officially, you are a decade in crypto. You had 10 years in crypto at the age of 24.
Yeah, 10 years here doing this.
This is crazy. The fact that you actually said you went on Mount Gox yourself, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Really quick, let me get some shout outs going on. Kaylee Ford, Ali Pio, Wendy, Lisa Lee, Silver Sharp, T Will, Benteezy, Jonathan. Make sure if you all have the mining questions now, today is the time to ask. So throw them in the chat, and I'll be sure to ask JP when it's time. So you got into your own Mount Gox, which in of itself is a story and crazy of its own. Things are working out. You went to North Carolina State for computer science. Was that correct?
Yes, that was correct.
Right. I definitely got to link you with my business partner. He graduated from NC State with a computer science degree, so he's a smart one of the two for us. But yeah, so all this is going on. Like you had the confidence in 2016. Of course, you saw one pump. I think I already had went to $1,000 one time, right? Before 2016.
Yeah, that was I think on its way.
2013.
Yeah, on its way to 1,000 maybe, or
on its way.
And then it was crashing down.
What gave you the confidence to say, you know what? I'm done with school already. I'm 17 years old. I'm 18 years old. I'm quitting college. Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, here on come. Like, what gave you that confidence?
So for me, I was started the mining business before I went to college, which is like my senior year of high school, and was just trying to figure out what that means. What's mining? Like, what's how much money are we going to make? What's the revenue look like? What does it mean to pay an investor? And after getting past that and starting that business, college came around and I decided, okay, I'm going to do a year of college. I don't want to miss up the opportunity. Went into school, did 1 year. And then kind of by the second year, I was like, okay, I'm only going to do online classes, only going to do one online class just to stay in school as I kind of drop out to make sure I still have this safety net. And so what I did was I was taking that one online class. I was trying to build the business online. And one day I ended up selling a bunch of graphics cards, made maybe close to like 30 to 40 grand sitting in my underwear at like 10 a.m. flipping
Wait,
some
how old
graphics.
were you at this time?
I was a freshman in college. So it was about 4 years since I got into Bitcoin. And it was just like, this is amazing. I can make enough money to survive, to live, to pay my rent. Why do I need to go back to school? I think there's more going to be more market opportunities, more market arbitrage. Graphics cards really at the time were just starting to become traded like they are today. Like this was the very first time people like myself were coming to Newegg and like asking for hundreds of graphics cards. Newegg was never, they didn't expect it. They never had to deal with a customer like that. Everyone bought 1 and 2 graphics cards at a time. So that really changed the game. And very quickly, the business started growing and selling homemade rigs. So I ended up designing my own mining case, my own 4U mining case for GPU mining. Bought about 1,000 of them from China. Started off buying smaller ones, here in the US, made locally with 100 or 200. And we would build the machines and then sell them and ship them out. So eventually I had all my friends in my parents' basement, like 4 or 5 guys, like working down there, building machines and shipping them out. And I believe in 2016, we did close to maybe 2017, we did close to like $2 million in revenue in my parents' basement, which was an insane accomplishment. And now it's only grown from there.
Hey, shout out to that because first of all, I mean, to be able to do it at a young age like that is amazing. But it's looked down upon. Like right now, but you were saying you, me and my friends were a bunch of like mid, late 20s and 30-year-olds in my parents' basement. People be like, ugh, like you guys don't know what you're doing. But essentially, that is the inception story. So I definitely love that. When it comes to building these rigs you're building, you personally, you know how to build them. Like you're building these things up from scratch. You and your friends.
Yeah, so we would take all the components, the metal case we designed on CAD, got it fabricated in Raleigh at a place called PMF back in the day. Then we would take the motherboard, screw the motherboards in, put the fans in, and that was like our version 2 or 3 of our case. The original version of the case or the mining rig was actually a wooden mining rig. I found a YouTube video online how to make a wooden mining case, and from there started plugging in GPUs. And my friends would actually go to Home Depot, and I'd pay them to basically drill together the metal, drill the wood together, and make this metal case. And we'd ship in this massive box in FedEx. The problem is, one of the problems we ran into originally in the beginning was like you ship it and then he gets there and the client's like, this sucks. Like nothing is working. Everything is, disjointed. All the parts are everywhere because the shipping would shake it and get it all messed up. And so eventually we had to design custom foam to make sure that the vibration when you were shipping these devices didn't shake all the computer parts out. It's just a constant learning process and iteration on how do we make a successful online e-commerce business selling mining equipment, right when Bitcoin mining and GPU mining was really starting to become a thing.
So, and going back as well, you started a robotics camp. Is that was a real thing, huh?
That was a real thing. So my first main business was the robotics camp. Before that, I sold some strawberries and stuff. My parents had the motto of like, if you wanted to go to camp, you had to pay for half of it. And I was the oldest of 6, so I had to pay for these summer camps and figure out a way to go and make money. And so one of those ideas was, okay, I won this something called FLL, First Lego League. We placed first in North Carolina, my team. So I was maybe 8th grade, maybe 8th grade, somewhere in there. And I got my friends over at his parents' basement. I was like, let's do a summer camp. So we put an ad on Craigslist, an ad on Facebook, and just like started posting in moms groups. And next thing you know, we have 10 kids at $150 a piece. We started growing that business. And then eventually the summer camps were happening every summer. We had 4 or 5 different sessions, over 50 to 60 kids. And I was hiring people to run it, getting insurance. So that was really my first foray into business, was the robotics camp.
So that touched a special nostalgia and a place in my heart because so my brother and I growing up in Detroit, Michigan, inner city, They have all these kids programs around that time in the 90s. That's when we were kind of finishing up the whole space race and, first person to keep going back to the moon. So it was nothing but science and science, still STEM. STEM was huge. Science, technology. So the robotics thing, I think my brother actually won a robotics competition, but we used to actually get into the robotics competitions. I used to watch Robot Wars growing up, all that stuff. So when I saw that part of your thing, I was like, all right, this trajectory is making sense. And now you actually just answered another question of mine. I was all right, you're from Austin, Texas, correct?
I'm living in Austin. I'm from Raleigh though, so grew up in North Carolina for 22 years.
Oh, okay, I got you. I wasn't sure. Okay, good stuff. All right, so shout out, of course, to Raleigh. Go Pack, NCSU. We're still here. We got you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, so you get out of school. You're saying, hey, this thing is working. We're going full time. We're going hard at it. Fast forward. You started getting big enough to the point you need to create an entire mining farm. It looks like.
So 2019 came around and I was actually at ETH Denver and I was looking for energy, looking for power, looking for a place to build a mining facility. And I met this guy and he came up to me and he was like, hey, I think I can do something. He was a local Iowa native. And I was like, okay, well, here's our agreement. We can compensate you for finding a megawatt of energy. We'll pay you for every hour, for every megawatt we use. And he was able to locate a site in Iowa where you are here in Grundy County, Iowa, and put up the mining facility. We started off with just one mining container that we actually had running in California for another project called BioStar Renewable Energy in our case studies here. But this is the mining farm on the screen. Then we put that building in place next, and then we put another shipping container, and then some more shipping containers. And now that site, I mean, you go to it and there's shipping containers everywhere getting deployed at another site only maybe 4 miles away. And so that site is at 5.4 megawatts, and there'll be another 6.6 megawatt site going up in March and April. And then, another 6.6 megawatt site we're looking to try to get up in the same area in April and May timeframe. So the sites just keep growing. The team there now is over 10 people, and it's been super exciting to see it grow. And when the price of Bitcoin went down, it was only maybe 2020 when a terahash value was worth like 7 cents a terahash. And so I was out there working basically by myself. At one point, like both of my employees one gave me their 2 weeks, and the other one was like, I was going to give you my 2 weeks too, but I'm just like, I wanted to wait a week before to make sure you're okay and like you can help it out. And then I was the only guy out there and just had like my EA working for me, helping run the business, my CFO and myself. And that was only, maybe 3 years ago. And now the team is over, 50 people when you include consultants. And there's tons of people building the vision, moving it forward. The company's scaling. We're working on, massive deals where we're buying wind farms and building out large facilities. So it's amazing what happens when you focus on one idea, one central theme, and you're able just to every day put work and effort into it. And that was thankfully what I've been able to do with Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining itself, is just focus on making it a better experience for clients and also profitable for ourselves.
All right, folks, I got to tell you, the reason why I got this eating grin on me and I just can't stop smiling. So JP, he's being relaxed right now. I'm not going to give away everything. JP's injured over there. He's nursing the injury, so he's kind of relaxed right now, but he knows why I'm excited. All right. He allowed me to do a tour of his facilities. I literally just got back about an hour or so ago. So before I show you all the footage, Warriors, I want to clear it with him to make sure there's nothing in there he'd rather me not put out there publicly. It shouldn't be no issues, but I got a chance to see that facility. It is amazing. Like, listen, people, this is a natural smile. It's been on my face literally all morning. I mean, how many people can say they've been inside of a Bitcoin mining facility? I can. I've been in a Bitcoin mining farm. What do you say the things that are outside of it called again? The
mining pods, mining containers.
So the containers that he speak of, folks, we got all this on video. All right, you're going to see all this. I'm going to do a separate video where I probably take some of the sound bites from this interview, some of JP sound bites, and lay it over the video or whatever, just to give you something pretty to look at. But I mean, it is amazing. One thing, and we'll get into this in a moment, but one thing I had to tell you, JP, and I was warned by your staff, which we'll be talking about as well when it comes to being a young CEO and everything. They were telling me how cold it gets in there. So folks, if you don't know, Iowa's already cold, all right? I've been in Los Angeles and Southern California in the last 9 years. When it gets 50 degrees, I'm cold now. I'm like, oh, what's going on? Folks, I landed in Iowa. I think it was about 20 degrees. This morning it was about 9 or 10 degrees. and the mining farm keeps the same energy, folks. It's got the same weather, if not worse, inside in some parts. So when I tell you, you'll see on the phone, my fingers will get on the camera or the phone will shake. I literally can only keep my hands outside my pockets for like 60 seconds at a time before I had to swap them. It was crazy. It's so cold in there.
See, but it's still warm. You see, it's only 20 degrees. Imagine when you're out there working the farm and it's -5 and you're trying to work on these miners and the fan is blowing the wind across. Those guys out there that work on the farm, we greatly appreciate them. They're at the front line, keeping Bitcoin safe and keeping Bitcoin transactions happening all over the network. It doesn't happen without those technicians.
And shout out to those techs. We'll definitely talk to them. And thank you to those techs as well. I didn't give them a camera because I didn't talk to you about that, but they were so helpful. They gave me so much information. They said the exact same thing. They was like, you think this? They was like, this is okay. They was like -10 degrees and trying to screw in this or trying to put a screw in. Like you said, when the wind and fans are blowing you, they was like, bro, this is nothing right now. They showed me the boots that they have, insulated $200 boots, insulated pants, everything. The list goes on and on. So I see more people join, everybody saying thank you for sure. Thanks for being here. I see questions starting to roll in. Again, this was that 15-minute intro, folks. You know what it is. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right. So I don't know. I have so many questions. I guess where I'll start at. All right. The biggest thing, let's start with the environment. Let's go ahead and head straight to the environment. I'm driving in. I'm seeing windmills everywhere, which I thought was pretty cool too. Two-part question to start. Do you use the wind power here in Iowa for your personal mining farm? Because I was told that that actual wind or that solar or the wind farm energy goes towards Chicago, I was told. So do you use that? And then also electricity costs. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so the wind energy there, the wind farm you see around that region does go to Chicago. It does, I don't know if it goes on what we call the SPP grid. So in Iowa, we're connected to the Southwest Power Pool, and there's only maybe 5 or 6 main grid operators in the United States. And those grid operators create a market where you buy and sell power. So SPP on average has about 50% wind, 6% natural gas, 2% hydro, 30% coal, and it's public. It's always updating. So if you want to see the power mix of the Midwest, just type in SPP power mix online and you can see what energy we're using. How Bitcoin mining helps the grid out is when people are using energy and it's very cold outside, like it was this morning, we all turn our heaters on, or in the summer, we all turn our air conditioning on. What that happens is everyone's trying to use energy at the exact same time, and the grid doesn't have enough power. So that facility where we have it will actually turn off. So we'll turn all those machines down with software. We'll throttle them from about a 5.5 megawatt load all the way down to less than 100 kilowatts. So a massive decrease in energy. Then that energy is given back to the community, and the community can use that power because the Bitcoin miner isn't using it anymore. What's important here is that if we didn't turn off, the only way to generate power on demand is to put coal into the coal plant to generate more energy, to generate more electricity. It's very hard to turn up natural gas. It can be done, but it's very hard to turn it up. Nuclear almost is impossible to turn it up. And you don't have any control over the wind and solar. So the only way to meet the community's demand is to put more coal in the furnace. So as a Bitcoin mining facility, we're providing energy that's controllable, but also is 24/7 usage. So usually that facility is going to run for, let's say, 715 hours out of the month, and then 5 hours it'll be off for this load control system. And so as these machines are off, right, like I said, we're giving the energy back to the people, no need to buy the coal energy. So more Bitcoin mining facilities allow us to build more intermittent energy, such as wind, such as solar. So what we're working on in Texas is we're buying a wind farm because that wind farm is on a contract called a merchant contract. So that means the wind has to sell into the marketplace, like a merchant marketplace, and they don't have a set price for the energy that they're generating. The problem here is that the market they're selling into is full. So most of the time the wind is blowing, this thing actually has to turn the power and put it into the ground. So because no one's using this energy and there's so much abundant renewable energy, especially in the Midwest and the Panhandle, no one's using it, no one lives out there, you have a wasted energy. So Bitcoin miners go to places where we have wasted energy, and we provide almost like a sink on the grid of constant energy production or constant energy usage which allows for more intermittent production to match that demand. So that's how Bitcoin mining to me fits in the environment. The more energy we use as a society that's responsibly sourced, sustainably generated, the better, the faster we're going to grow, the more Bitcoin, the more jobs are created. Energy usage is inherently a good thing. You look at it as when you look at a building downtown and you see a massive skyscraper, you don't say, oh, wow, all that steel took so much energy to make and it's bad for the environment. No, you say that's a beautiful building. The same thing is coming, with mining farms and data centers. Is these things are features of the energy grid and are only going to make it more resilient. The whole premise of using energy as bad, it's not something we take into consideration when we're talking about everyone should stop watching YouTube, right? Because we're using the servers. Like it doesn't, we don't do this any other industry, but just Bitcoin mining. The media loves it because they like to paint Bitcoin as this green, bad energy monster, when in reality is Bitcoin is changing energy forever. Bitcoin mining fundamentally changes energy because it allows you to buy energy from a local marketplace and sell it to a global marketplace. So that wind farm that can't sell the energy because no one needs it in its area, with Bitcoin mining, it now can sell that energy to the Bitcoin network, keeping the transaction secure, keeping everything running, and it's effectively exporting that electron. So Bitcoin mining changes the game with energy. The energy companies are going to come into Bitcoin mining. They're already here. They're continuing to build out and figure out how do they use their assets to mine Bitcoin and use this stranded energy to support their operations. So overall, Bitcoin mining is here to stay, and it's good for the world.
There we go. I mean, that's loaded. I have so many questions just from that. So many. So first I'll say, how was that learning curve for you as far as like you have, like I was talking to your team, like you have a contract with and you just said, so you have a contract with the power company. Like yep. And they're what, I'm not sure in Iowa if they're private or if they're a combination.
They're all public. Well, public? Yeah, so the utilities are all public and they actually have regulated rates. So they can't offer you a Bitcoin miner a lower rate than someone else. So, and that's at 4 cents, basically 4.4 cents a kilowatt hour is the regulated rate. It's very hard to get below that in the United States.
How did you navigate even like your early 20s dealing with a power company? How did you navigate this? Like, what was the learning curve like for this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like to dive into these deep issues head first, and I get addicted to learning more and more about how things function. So I was a computer science, really programmer. I would dive in there, and then I became really obsessed about Shopify and how to sell on that and how to do production. And then it became energy. So like 2019, 2020, really focused on energy. Most of my time is actually spent on the commercial and regulatory side of the business and deals there, and less of the engineering physical side of the business, because what we're trying to do by using energy from a wind farm and using it from the grid, that takes months of regulatory approval and hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal fees to get some of these deals done. So it's not about physically being able to do it, about the power of not being able to get there. It's all about the laws that have been written to keep the energy companies and the energy industry in place where it is. And the goal of the energy business is not to make people have cleaner power. It's not to make people have cheaper power. If you're an energy company, the goal of your business is to effectively get as much assets or buy as much energy generation assets as you can and make your ratepayers, the people who are using the energy, pay the interest and debt on those assets. So you never want to lower your rates. You always want to keep them going higher because you always want to build more and more of your energy assets because those are what have value. So the whole system is flipped on its head. It's not for the people. It's for the dividends, for the shareholders of these energy companies. And so Bitcoin mining really flips it on its head, where we go to the energy that no one wants and we use it, we buy it up, and we're changing how this energy industry functions.
And I definitely believe that because, folks, I'll tell you what, no offense to you all, no offense. Iowa folks, a lot of open space. Again, I'll have all this in the video. When I flew in, I took some video. I was like, oh my God, I was just like LA, except you get rid of all the concrete buildings. You just put a bunch of flat lands and farms. And it's the exact same. So,
and people say we're overpopulated. You go out to Iowa, like it's another planet out there.
It's another planet, A. B, I agree with what you're saying. I see the wind farms, and just in general, it's like they have to keep a certain amount of energy, like you said, in pocket, because you just can't, it's not an on and off switch. But clearly right now that energy is not being used. So I actually do agree with you using a Bitcoin. I never even thought about that, using a Bitcoin mining farm as a faucet for that energy, especially for others who may need it in other areas. I fully agree. I get it. Like that actually makes sense. With that being said, so your energy bill, can you share that with us? Like the actual dollar amount of your energy bill, like
Yeah, I
the
think
monthly?
so. So the energy bill this last month was $130,000.
Uh-huh. So I didn't know the monthly amount. Somebody, they told me the daily amount was around five and some change, but I was like, I don't know if you want to talk numbers. So I was like, I asked the
Yeah,
answers. So this is real,
this is
130K a
real.
month.
This is real. And guess what? The past month or in December, we actually didn't turn off our machines in time. So we got billed a fee for using energy during that peak demand. And guess what that fee was? That was $100,000 fee. So the energy bill was a $230,000 that month. Not just the same energy, but just because we didn't do our job, which was to turn down in the time period we were told to.
Oh, that's the fine. Okay, that's the throttle down and the fine that comes with it with the contract. I understand.
Exactly. So this, we're really helping the system, and there's real consequences if we don't do our job.
Wow. So okay, I'm sorry. Like I said, this is why I was smiling earlier, people. I'm telling you, I can't wait to show you the video of everything we're talking about. So first of all, how many machines do you have? I just off a rough glance, it looks like thousands.
Yeah, there's at least 1,800 at that Iowa
Yeah,
facility.
that all right. That's about right. I think. Yeah. Okay. So about how much Bitcoin can you all make a day or a month with that
That
mining
makes
farm?
about zero point 0.7 Bitcoin a day.
Okay. So when it comes to the cost of electricity and the price of Bitcoin, feel free to get as technical as you want or as broad as you want. When the hash rate difficulty changes, let's say the price of Bitcoin is down, that energy bill is going to stay the same amount. So let's just say for like just whatever, Bitcoin right now is $2,000, right? Thank you, God. Please, we'll know we're not going to see that again. But let's just say Bitcoin was $2,000. It still costs you $5,000, 5,300 or whatever a day for electricity costs. At that point, would you be taking a loss and just saying, I'm going to keep mining Bitcoin because I believe in this project? How does that work as like a CEO of a farm?
Yeah, so there's times when you're trying to maximize that return and you don't have much money to play with. So you have the opportunity to do two things. One is you might be contractually obligated to mine to use the energy. For us, we're not contractually obligated in Iowa, but other places we will be. And you have to basically decide, do I want to mine Bitcoin today, or do I want to turn all my miners off and not mine it? Because think about it. If you're going to spend more money on electricity than the Bitcoin you got, why don't you just take that money and buy Bitcoin on the market?
Good
There,
point.
there's no reason to run it. So what happens is that these points where Bitcoin mining becomes unprofitable is different based on the cost of electricity. So in Iowa, the cost is 4 cents, right around there. And you have people that sign hosting contracts at other facilities at 6 cents, at 8 cents, at 10 cents. Those people are going to feel pain much sooner than you will. So 10-cent people will feel it first, then the 8 cents. So for us in Iowa, we're at 4, and then at new sites we're building out, we're looking to be at 2 cents, which is double the efficiency. So if I run the same machine at 4 cents, it's going to cost double as 2 cents. And the same machine at 2 cents is 4 times cheaper than the one at 8 cents. So it's really effectively about finding the energy that no one's using. And people are doing really unique things like using flare gas, using biomethane, using
People
human
are trying to
waste,
figure it out. It
everything.
pays to figure it out. It pays for renewable, right?
Oh, 100%. If you can figure out how to make clean energy at scale to mine Bitcoin, I mean, you've solved the energy problem and you've solved your Bitcoin ever becoming unprofitable. So there is going to be multiple groups are going to make the holy grail of Bitcoin mining and clean energy, nuclear, hydro, geothermal, whatever it is, and really move this space forward.
So, man, when it comes to, I told you, I'm just so excited. When it comes to so you're pretty open, you're transparent, and of course we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate the tour. I can't wait to chop that video up, sir. Like, folks, you don't understand. Like, it is literally like being the San Francisco gold rush, and one of the gold miners was like, "Hey, come on down and check it out." Like, we just started the gold rush. People, it is an incredible sight to see. I'm telling you. And with your transparency, are you not worried about, let's say Iowa? Like many things. First, like of course, hackers and sophisticated groups and all this stuff. And then, of course, the state. Some of your text was telling me that some of the local people that they were friends with started reaching out to them after Dr. Phil or whatever. It was like, wait, is that what you say you work at, or is this in our town? And now, before people didn't even realize this was in their town, now you have local residents who are like, holy, wait, we got a Bitcoin mining farm in our town. So I guess, what are your thoughts on security, on your transparency? Like, I mean, are you scared of any of this? How do you feel?
Yeah, Ken, I'm here to share a story and to build a great life, not only for myself, but for the team and for everyone who works here. I think Bitcoin mining can bring abundance to the world, to a community. It can help solve a lot of these issues because you're truly doing the most basic version of work. You're turning like energy into heat, and that's it. That's all Bitcoin mining is at the end of the day. These computers do the math problem pays you, and it goes into heat. And so as a Bitcoin mining owner, my goal is to be super transparent in how much money I make, how much we're spending, show people that anyone can do this. And I actually dropped a link in the chat for WeFunder, which is a product we launched to allow people to get into Bitcoin mining at a very low price, under $1,000, and you can become an owner in a Bitcoin mining operation. So my goal is not to make Bitcoin mining something where it's the haves and the have-nots. It's people that can't afford it. We want to make Bitcoin mining available and accessible to everyone. And so that's kind of what the model for me has always been. And I'm trying to get it in the hands of as many people as possible, which means breaking down barriers of entry, breaking down costs of entry, making it accessible, making it on your phone, making it so anyone can, get in the network. But at the end of the day, I'm here to share that story, and I am being authentic, right? I'm telling people what my journey has been, sharing the story, the ups and downs, and that's what I think every content creator desires, is to have an authentic connection with their audience and to be able to even share that authentic story, because that authentic story does resonate with people, and then they hopefully feel motivated, or they feel inspired to start their own mining operation. I was actually in Austin, had the chance after the Dr. Phil episode and this Bitcoin mining conference and my TikTok going viral to experience what it felt like to have someone come up and ask to take a selfie with me, and to come up and be like, hey, thanks so much for making content. It's changed my view on the space. It actually made me want to do this, want to become a Bitcoin miner. And those are the people I hope to inspire more with the authentic and transparent content at the end of the day. So I'm not scared. I think fear is the mind killer, and I'm here to bring abundance and energy usage to the world.
There we go. Well, I'll tell you what, some of our warriors are definitely going to be taking pictures with you, because I'm about to get into some of the questions I know they want to hear. All right. You told me about before we leave, I do want to put that WeFunder. What is the this specific project?
Yeah, it's called BitVault. Look it up. WeFunder.com.
Yeah, I still have the link on here. All right. So I'll pin that link, folks. Check that out, and we'll talk more about BitVault before before JP leaves. So really quick, mom and pops, we get this all, like, this is a very often question we get. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, public school, but whatever. We get asked pretty often, hey, what do I need to start mining? Or is it too late to start mining? And usually Bitcoin he's like, I would save it for the bigger operations, because again, essentially if you start mining right now, you are competing against people like JP. There are, and right now I was talking to your text. I don't think we'll see it now. I think very soon, in the next year or two, we'll start seeing essentially regulation that if you're already a big miner, you'll have things to protect you. And if you're not already, I think they're going to put up that barrier where it's like, all right, we got enough miners, because you guys are going to treat you all like the banks. They're like, we got enough miners. If you want to be a new miner, you get this $150,000 license after you complete these 3 regulatory steps, and this is going to take 6 months. Oh, it's going to come. I know how the game plays. Like, they're going to make it take 6 months to a year for a new miner to pop up, unless you're a big company. I hope not as well, but we know the games they play. But with all that being said, I'm a mom and pop. Hey, we got a little bit of money. Like, is this worth starting? If so, how to start it?
Yeah, so you have really 2 or 3 options to start. The first option is go at your house, right? So that's how I started. That's how most miners start. You can go the GP or the ASIC route. Just for simplicity, we're going to choose ASICs. You basically buy an ASIC online, eBay, Facebook, Telegram, find a reputable vendor. We don't sell individual ASICs to people because of all the logistics. Then from there, you plug your machine in and it starts making you money. It's pretty easy. The one thing you want to make sure that you check is your cost to your energy, right? Because as I mentioned, the 12 cents, the 8 cents, that's really important. And you want to make sure that the energy you're using is going to be cheap and let you play the game. So let's say your energy is not cheap enough. What are your other options? Well, you can do something called hosting. You can host your machine at someone's facility and pay them a flat rate. Now you do become contractually obligated to paying that energy. So you are making that contractual obligation, even if you don't make enough Bitcoin. So then you could lose your machine if you can't pay your bill. And that really sucks. And you could be in a lawsuit if you don't pay your bill. So that's another route, is hosting, but there is risk because you are committing on a contract. And then kind of what we're launching with BitVault is it allows anyone to own equity in a mining farm with an influencer. So I can't talk about the project off the platform, which means that's about as much as I can share with you guys. You guys can hear more about what the company is, how much we've raised, and it's all available on wefunder.com. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey partnering with Josh Terry Plays to make this happen. There's a lot of great questions on here, a lot of good information, and also, a lot about our story and kind of why we're doing this, why we're trying to bring Bitcoin and make it accessible to the masses.
And yeah, and that's the part actually that I did like. And when I heard you say that, I don't know if you're backstage or you're already on stage on Dr. Phil. And that's in some of your bio stuff I saw as well. And that's that frictionless, getting Bitcoin mining, making it as frictionless as possible to as many people as possible and to make it accessible. So, that's awesome that you're actually doing that. When it comes to, and I know you said you can't talk much about it, so I'll keep it broad, but when it comes to whether it's the mining company you have or other ones you plan to launch in the future, like I won't say scared, but what are your thoughts on the regulatory environment?
Yeah, so I think the regulatory environment for miners has been fairly simple in the past. There's clarity out there there's clarity on how to tax your Bitcoin when you mine it. Like, what's the cost of production? How do you treat it for tax purposes? The usage of energy is not like something that you need a license for, like you're mentioning. So there's not really any regulatory requirements there. So thankfully, Bitcoin mining is not, you're not transmitting money. So you're not a money transmitter. You're not transmitting money on behalf of someone else, even though you are confirming transactions. The US Treasury and others have said that's not a money transmitter. They even took us out of the brokers rule for what they passed the infrastructure bill saying miners are brokers. I believe now that is gone. And so as a Bitcoin miner, the regulatory kind of requirements is that you run your business, if you're selling Bitcoin miners to people, that, you don't have to even KYC them, but that you're ensuring that, you're not selling miners that were stolen. Normal business practices that you have to abide by if you run a physical infrastructure-based business. So Bitcoin mining isn't different because it's a physical business. It's the only business in Bitcoin that is really a physical business at scale. Even running a node is mostly done on Amazon.
And specifically about something like this, would there be any regulatory things you have to take care of as far as getting people jump in on this project?
Yeah, so for this project, we follow something called the Reg CF framework, which allows you to legally raise $5 million through the platform as an influencer. And so Josh Terry is doing this raise, and he's partnering with Mining Store or BitVault, and we're providing the services. So over the 5 years in the contract, we'll be ensuring that those machines run as BitVault LLC, and we'll be supporting those machines. But from a regulatory perspective, we're raising money through a regulatory compliant.
Right. Vehicle. I was just wondering. Okay, I was just asking because I know our guests, the Warriors, will definitely ask me to ask that as soon as we get off.
No, 100%. That's the goal of this. The reason why I haven't made an NFT or made a token is because the goal is to make a compliant vehicle that people can get into Bitcoin mining. And this was the route we went down.
There we go. Listen, you notice that all the people who are really about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin blockchain, no one's rushing to do an IC or a token, folks. NFT. And no one's rushing. All right. This is the same thing. We get the same offers 24/7. Like, ICOs, no NFTs, no. Like, it's okay. We're good, folks. We'll get there. T Will Lineman for hire. All right, so I'm gonna go to some of our viewer questions. I have a ton of them, so let me go to some of our warriors real quick. What's a ballpark investment needed to make a good passive income? So I'm assuming for we're talking mom and pop operations right here.
Yeah. So one machine is anywhere between, let's say, an older version machine you can buy for $300 and a newer version machine up to $10,000. So that's your ballpark investment. If you buy one Bitcoin miner, you don't need to buy anything else. You just buy the Bitcoin miner, a power cord, and Ethernet cable, which most people have laying around their house. You plug it in and it's good. When you get to running 10 Bitcoin miners, okay, now you have to deal with the heat. You have to buy a fan, and now you have to deal with the noise. And so there's more issues you get as you add more machines, which is then why you have to go to a dedicated facility or a dedicated shipping container. So for the one mom and pops, buy one Bitcoin miner, use it to heat your garage, heat your attic in the winter, heat your crawl space.
I didn't even think of that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then the summer, you're like, hey, get this heat out of here. Like, I want it to be blown outside, basically.
So, but let's say one person does get one Bitcoin miner. Like, what will even be the amount of Bitcoin they actually mine from? Like at that point, let's say you spend $5,000 on a Bitcoin miner. You're essentially mining, saying, "Hey, I'm just every little Satoshi counts at this point." Is that what you're essentially saying to yourself?
Yeah, every Satoshi counts. You join a pool, and on a $5,000 Bitcoin miner, you might be able to get like 60, 70 terahashes, which is how much fast it is, and that might make you $300 a month right now in the current market.
That's actually that's pretty good.
Putting it down, you're slowly growing. It's anyone can do it. That's the nice thing about Bitcoin mining. It's a very low barrier to entry, even myself in high school. But as you start to scale up, that's when the checks start coming out. Like, $100,000 for this, and you got to pay for these things, and this concrete, and this land, and this electrical copper wire. That's when it's like you need a big checkbook to play the big game.
I would say that across the industry right now, which is crazy that it's like that. And maybe that's across every industry, but you're right. It's like, folks, everybody think, oh, I'm getting millionaire. All right, get close and see what starts to happen. Like, you'll start getting hit with numbers out the blue that you've never been hit with before.
You gotta spend money to make money.
That is very true. You know what? I used to not really want to spend it to make it, so I'm just not. I'm just now really accepting that is what it really is in this game that we play. Nappy Ways, what's going on? Do you sell your Bitcoin? If so, how can we purchase sats from you? KYC free, baby.
So we do sell our Bitcoin on exchanges, not to individuals. We have to follow all the KYC, AML, BSA compliance out there. Actually, that's where I spent my time in 2014 and 15 coming out of high school into college, was in AML BSA compliance training, because I was like, this stuff's so cool. I want to learn about it. I want to be able to be compliant with how I'm using Bitcoin. And so the end of the day, what we do with our Bitcoins is we hold them. We're a long-term hodler. So we'll lend against them on different platforms. But really at the end of the day, we're not trying to sell. Sometimes we take the cash we make from sales and from other things, and we just plow it back into the business. We don't want to say buy the Bitcoin. Sometimes we do have to sell our Bitcoin to pay our bills and do expansions. But at the end of the day, we're trying to stack the sats and keep mining.
There it is. I love it. Jenna, what's going on? Jenna Jameson. Can you mine coins from your phone?
You can mine coins, but you can't mine Bitcoin. And coins are way different than Bitcoin. So don't even try mining on your phone.
I love it. We've actually started that conversation in the last couple of weeks where we're like, there's Bitcoin and there's cryptocurrency. Let's make sure we start, because it's getting lumped way too much now. It's all right, we got to unlump this thing.
100%.
What's going on, Mountain Man? Ashley K said, thanks for sure. Larry N. Oh, great question. Larry N. How will the next halving affect you?
Sure. So the Bitcoin halving affects the whole industry equally. It cuts the amount of Bitcoins that come out of the mining process by half. And for us as an operator, we're focused on making sure we're efficient, we're lowering costs, and we have the cheapest energy we can. At the time when time comes, we won't really know how it will affect us, other than it'll affect our bottom line dramatically. So you have to prepare and have money aside for those couple of months where you're not going to be as profitable. But after the halving, Bitcoin usually goes on a bull run. So you just got to get it out, got to hold off for 300, 400 days.
So it's really interesting, folks. So first of all, and we'll get into this moment, your team, you got an awesome team. The way the team came together was awesome. We'll talk about that as well. But I would say from what I met from his text, they are new to the industry as a whole, to the Bitcoin cryptocurrency industry, blockchain industry. So they are not well versed in everything as they are just in the expertise of mining. But that's what I was talking to them about. I was like, you guys know the halving is coming next couple of years. They were, it's a couple of, huh? I'm like, listen, I was like, you have nothing to worry about. Like dollar cost averaging, you work at a mining firm, stay here as long as you can. And in 2.5 years, all of you will be sitting very pretty. Trust me, like it's happening. So I'm with that. Lift Hunt Game said, can you explain finding power? What does that mean actually? Like the person that you found, where to get the power from? I want to get into solar myself. So yeah, how do you find power?
So for us, we find power by locating substations. So a substation is where energy is taken from the lines, the high voltage or the medium voltage lines down to the usable voltage by a computer. So the computers use something called 240 volts of energy, which is like what you have in your wall. Usually that's 120 here in the United States. So you can run them at 240. So what a guy finding power does is he's looking for land next to a substation, and he tries to get the landowner to sell the land to him or to lease it to him. And then he goes out and he finds a Bitcoin mining company that wants to put their mining facility there. And he can take a good margin. Some guys make anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 per megawatt per month. Woo. For 5 years, bro. 5 years, 6 years.
He's like, trust me, these deals I've signed already. I don't like.
He's like, these deals, like some of my guys, they're making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars over the course of the contract for finding one piece of land. And that could be a 3-acre plot of land next to a substation.
So that's a whole job in the industry in and of itself that we even know about. Literally,
it's a whole job. Yep, just like back in the day in the oil guys, they would go out in people's land, test for oil.
Oh yeah.
Same thing here. They're the same type of people going out finding the electricity.
Hey, there you go, folks. If you didn't get anything today, at least I got something new for sure. And there is another part of the industry I literally knew nothing about. This is crazy. Birdtown Music Group, what's going on? Said this is the best breakdown of energy uses I've ever heard. There we go. Let's see. Who else do we have? Harwick. Why is solar energy not effective for Bitcoin mining?
So the sun's out for 12 hours a day, some days on the good days, and it's out for 7 hours a day on some other days. The really problem with solar energy is that you can't get over 50%. So with wind, you can get at least 50, 60, 70, even 80% of the time blowing. Solar, 40, 30, 50, somewhere in that range. So that's why it's not effective for Bitcoin mining compared to other renewable sources like wind. Doesn't mean you can't do it on Bitcoin mining. It's possible, but you get better economics using wind.
Alex, shout out Alec G, who's one of our team members, in-house moderators, showrunner, producer. He does it all for us. He said, have you looked at some of the novel ways people are recapturing or recycling the exhaust energy, like growing crops, plants, or other things?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but I'm aware of people that have used the heat from Bitcoin mining for other activities, such as, legal pot growing in those states. For us, it's, we're focused on the bottom line, and that's important for those winners. But at the same time, we're focused on innovating here, like on the phone. We're making it accessible through social media and not necessarily focused on what do we do with the heat. Eventually, all of our mines will probably have some sort of hydroponic system in it. But right now, it just doesn't make sense.
Cool. All right, last couple of questions from the audience, because I do have a couple of my own before we let JP go for sure. Khalifa, what's going on? Khalifa Wright said, if you're independent for lower miners, is it better to join a mining pool, or do it yourself?
100% join a mining pool. Even though we did see some people mine solo blocks over the past couple of months,
don't bet on it.
Don't bet on it. Like, don't bet their farm. Get the steady income, stack the sats. I mean, if you're a gambling man, hell, mine solo mining, but you might be gambling their whole life.
Right? Well, it's funny. Again, I was telling some of your texts. They was like, wait, what? I was like, no, seriously. Like, it was like with 2 or 3 Ethereum blocks, which of course, but then it was like, then there's the Bitcoin one. Everybody's like, whoa, you got our attention now. Bitcoin mining is back.
Yeah.
Ashley K. And you can answer this however you want, because it's a different, just looking at it, different ways to answer. How much maintenance goes into running a farm? I mean, just from what I saw, Goodness gracious.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that come into running a farm. You have to keep the machines running. That's the most obvious, which means you have to replace parts like fans, power supplies, control boards, hash boards. Then you have to keep the infrastructure running around the mining farm. So those are the mining farm fans. That's the shelves, making sure that there's a separation between the hot and cold aisle. It's a lot of maintenance. So for one 5.4 megawatt facility, we have about 10 staff members that are constantly doing things, working on machines, installing things, fixing things, clearing snow, writing documentation, answering customer support tickets. So it's not an easy gig, and it's about one person to about 300 to 250 machines is how many we hire. So 300 machines is close to $3 million, and that one person will manage $3 million of assets.
Goodness gracious. And then someone else asked, I don't know where is that. I'm gonna give you a shout out as soon as I see your name. But they asked your day, like what's JP's day to day, I guess.
Yeah. So
John C. Bland, shout out to you, John C. Bland. Second, he's a developer as well. Yeah, what's your day-to-day schedule? Not the text, but JP's.
Yeah. So my day to day is, I'm sitting at this workstation here, communicate with my team in the morning, have calls during the afternoons with counterparties like energy companies. We're navigating engineering and building out our own 50 megawatt building. And in addition to that, I spend a lot of time focusing on building out new products and even now building social media. So I'm actually, this is kind of like my next big project, and I think you'll get a kick out of it. Dr. King is over here. It's like, people are using these scam accounts and they're going crazy. They're making so much content, they're copying it. So I'm going to try to almost fight back. And the way I want to do that is I want to build an AI, and I have guys that my friends work at Google. And so they're working on AIs to basically build content. So with Descript, you can actually dub your voice now. You can turn in, make your voice you just type the text and it'll automatically say the text in your voice, in your native language, like native JP Baric. So I'm going to take that, get an AI over here to put together some of the content and just like post 100 TikToks a day, just massively blast the Bitcoin mining news out. More Bitcoin mining content than anyone else is kind of like my goal, and to do it automated. So that's like one of the other things I'm focusing on this year. But then in addition, I'm doing crazy stuff like we're buying a 114 megawatt wind farm, and I got to negotiate, 60-page documents to buy an asset and work with lawyers and regulatory committees and all these other kind of opportunities outside of my social media game and my computer science, which is like building the mobile app. I'm actually hiring my first boss from an internship. My latest Instagram photo, me and him 6 years ago to this date, working together, man. It is crazy how far I've come, but also how much a circle life is, where you're working with people who you were interning for, and now not only working for him, but I'm hiring him as my chief operating officer.
You know what? And that's actually a perfect segue, because that was going to be the next topic for me. First of all, I gotta give you your flowers right here. Round of applause, folks. 24-year-old CEO and co-founder. I can tell you now, he gave you the short version. Just looking at the mining operation he has here in Iowa, this is a busy person. Like, you're talking about components and parts you need to even keep the miners up and running. You're talking about temperature. Like you said, he has to learn about regulations, compliance, legal teams. He has to deal with the state and private industry companies or public energy companies in different states. Like, believe me, folks, this is a deep web that JP has gotten himself into.
Keep learning every day.
Right. But so on the way here, one of the first questions I asked, I was speaking to one of your Tawny, who I guess she's like the office administrator for everything.
Yep.
And she seemed a little bit older, so I had to ask her. I was like, how's it working for JP? Is like a young boss, whatever. She seemed ecstatic. She told me the good things you're doing, things she didn't even expect, which is, I guess, congratulations to her. She's pregnant, and she was like, one thing I didn't expect, and I was already kind of looking for and trying to figure out, was like, hey, if he doesn't let me take maternity leave, or when I have this baby, what am I gonna do? She was like, it actually surprised me. He was like, he's working with me. He's telling me, hey, take maternity leave, let me know the date so we can figure this out. And I did accredit your generation to that. I was like, that is kind of like their generation. They definitely, like, your generation, like my generation is still competitive. It's like, no, we don't need no friends over here. Like, we're gonna see you. Your generation is more like, come on, we got you, man. So, but in general, not just her, all the texts, everyone I spoke to, everyone seems excited. They seem motivated to work for you. They're happy to work for you. They're happy with the situation. A lot of the techs and people that work here, from what I've talked to, it sounds like, one person was here. And here's something to hold on to, people too, as well. it sounds like two people actually got hired, or at least one for sure got hired because one of their friends they knew from gaming was already a tech for JP. And through video games they met, and then he came out to work for JP as well. So you have this whole team out here. Everyone's excited. In your view, I guess, what is it like to be a young, like you're 24? I mean, honestly, before that, you were 22, 21. So what was it like to be a young founder, young CEO, leading the charge in a brand new industry that's being attacked by governments and regulators, like all eyes on this industry, and you're a 24-year-old CEO of one of the most important parts of the industry?
Man, it's not easy, but that's life. And you learn what it means to what I call people, to be peopling, to do the peopling, to have the emotions, the problems, everything that goes in a business. At the end of the day, I am a business CEO who tries my best, who wakes up every day to build a better company, but I'm a human as well. I have faults, I have failures. So as a team, we're growing, we're learning. But one of the biggest things that I do is I read, constantly listen to books, constantly listen to podcasts, learning, asking for candid feedback, asking your team to speak up. And as a CEO, it's easy to say like, everything's perfect, everything's fine. But it's like, I tell them, I want to hear your, I want to hear your real, true concerns. I want to hear what's really going on, what you're happy about and what you're sad about. And one of my other phrases is, I'm not your boss. You have people you report to. Those people then report to me. But for a technician, I'm like, I'm not your boss. I'm a wizard, man. I'm just here to put the puzzle pieces together. You're just part of this puzzle. You're making it work. You're helping us out. And so before the things that I've been really focusing on, which is 4 keys to like a successful team, is you have to build a cohesive leadership team that can make sure they're together and they can communicate a message. Then you have to be intellectually aligned on 6 simple but critical questions that make sure that we all understand why we're doing what we're doing, why we're here, what our mission is, stuff like that. And the third thing to build a successful team is you have to be repeatedly and clearly over communicate. Always communicate, always communicate. Even if you think they know it, communicate again, because when in doubt, over communicating is what you need. And number 4 is you want to reinforce and push for clarity. You want to make sure people can ask for clarity, step up. And those types of business practices, communication, those peopling skills, or those EQ, as Gary Vee would say, have allowed me to grow the business, hire people, and delegate. But I'm not perfect. So my team is still growing. We're trying to figure it out. And we're going from 20 people, really close internally employees, to probably 50 to 75 people just this year. So that's like an amazing opportunity. And it's a huge leadership opportunity for me, but I'm going to rely on people like my old boss to come in and really help scale that. Because for me, where I get most of my value and where I kind of create the success is by being that wizard on the computer, figuring out the financial instrument we're going to use, figuring out the regulatory instrument we're going to use, figuring out how do we put together these deals in a unique way that no one else has thought about to make this easier, Bitcoin mining easier for everyone else in the world.
Woo, I should have brought the soundboard today. I should get the soundboard active because, hey, we got to drop a bomb on that. You already know it. That was loaded. That was so much. For one, you just motivate me to do better. But I do agree with you. Our team works very similar. Where it's like, look, nobody's boss. We got things to do. Everybody try to work get together and get it done. I like your philosophy. That sounds amazing. And speaking to your team as well, they said the same thing. They was like, we're starting to grow. We have these group chats, like the group chat I flew in. JP had one of his team members pick me up. I'm actually staying, and this will be, I'll just have a brief video, like a brief clip of where I'm staying at, maybe like a 3-second clip just so you can see it. But essentially he has a tech house here for all the techs that actually have relocated, because these folks have relocated to move here to Iowa to work at this mining farm. So we're at this house and we have this group chat where everybody was working on to pick me up, who's going to drop me off, take me wherever. And as I spoke to some of the people here, they was like, yeah, some of the people in the group chat don't even live here. They're like, I guess a couple of people like they're in different states or wherever. They were like, what? They was like, yeah, our team's awesome. There's like, there's people, I quote, there's people I have never met at this company that I feel like we're good friends already. So it's like, just speaking to your team, they seem excited. I got to go to the comment section because they're just as excited as me. Birdtown Music Group, I said the same thing. Listen, I wish I had a DJ Clue bomb to drop. My man said, I'm a wizard. That's some real boss level shit. That is what I said. He said, I'm a wizard. You are a wizard. I'm with it. All right, a couple more. I'm not gonna hold you much longer. I told
That's
you.
okay, man. I'm good. I got at least 15 more minutes.
All right, perfect. That's all we need. 10, 15 more. So Khalifa Wright. So again, the answer that he said, I kind of answered already. Again, he found a couple of his employees, and through various things, they reached out to some of their friends or people they knew, and he interviewed them from there. But
We're always
I guess
looking to hire great people. So
and
email
that's the
us.
questions that are coming in right now. Are you looking for special skills? And do you train new employees with the ins and out of Bitcoin mining or farms? Like, what does it take to come work for JP?
Yeah, so miningstore.com careers section. If on our website, we have a career section, you can apply for the jobs we have out there. You can just send us your resume at hiring@miningstore.com if you want. But for us, what we're looking for is people that it might be in about us, maybe. Let's see, or careers. Yeah, somewhere
at the bottom somewhere. Is it about us?
Check out about us real quick. Yeah, I thought it was on here. It used
you
to
keep
be
talking. I'll find it.
Anyway, so we're looking for people that are passionate about the mining space, passionate about working and building a company from the ground up, and understand that we don't have all the answers, we don't have all the questions, and so that's what we're looking for in the future. And these are some of the people on our team. They're all over the world, all over the U.S., and do have people all over the world like Jack over here. But it's a great time. I don't know where
I don't know where is that either, but I'll say this, and this is what I'm gonna say what I'm about to say, because no, honestly, we oftentimes in this space, like, we understand why, but we do make things too easy. You see the website, folks, figure out how to get in touch with them.
Exactly.
All right. I'm not gonna spam them with 300 people. If somebody wants a job for real, if you can figure out how to get in touch with them, I'm sure that will help with the hiring process for you. Like, that's how I am. Like, if you can't figure out how to get in touch with me, then we probably didn't need to communicate that much anyway. Many different ways. I think this has been answered. I just want to jam say, are there any other plans to branch out to other states? You're already building other states, correct?
Yep, we've got at least 4 more in the pipeline. Right now we have we're planning to do over 297 megawatts in the next year. So right now we're at 5.
Nice.
And that's the growth that we're looking at. A lot of opportunity. So we're excited. We've got 2 massive projects.
Yeah. Leroy, shout out to Leroy Ford, is another of our team members. He does our newsletter. Hey, if you all didn't check out that Friday's newsletter, make sure you do. Leroy killed it again. Leroy said, I mess with homie's energy. He definitely passes the vibe check. Ashley K said the same thing. Heart-centered, willing to hear the worst aspects of his company. This is the next level business model. Live, hunt, game. Hey, I'm saying the same thing. He said, yo, this guy gets it at 24. I'm trying to teach his mentality to my city. Like, at 24, I had just became a naval officer. So I was forcing myself to get it. I had just left the football field. I was so rough around the edges, but I was forcing myself to get it. I did not get it like this at 24. So yeah, shout out to you. I mean, hell, I'm damn near just really starting to get it now. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Are you also, I guess, doing anything with international folks here right now?
Yeah, so we're working on, multiple different venues on how to generate our own energy and use it to Bitcoin mine outside the United States, because there's a lot less regulation to do it. So we're really interested in some renewable energy sources that, are not the most popular, but work really well. And, those projects are going to be 2024, 2025. But I think to put them in perspective, one of the projects we're scoping out right now is a 2 gigawatt mining farm, which is 2,000 megawatts, which is massive. But if that mining farm, or when that mining farm gets built, it will be 10% of the GDP of the country that it's in. So there's projects like that we're trying to get bankers out of Dubai to help fund and put together that can change the world, basically. And it's super fun. And those are the things that I just love dreaming about. And hopefully one day we'll be able to pull it off.
There we go. Hey, I know they're excited in the chat. I'm excited too. People, you see why I started this chat off, or started off the stream smiling like crazy. I already knew we were in for a treat. All right. So last few things I'm going to ask you. So 3-part question. Biggest challenge in mining, the biggest challenge of running a farm, and things you wish you had done differently when starting a farm.
So my biggest challenge when mining, or when mining in general, I think one of the biggest challenges is running a 24/7 operation means that you always need to have someone on call, You need to have staff that are willing to get up, even if it's -20, even if there's tons of snow on the ground, and
Which
get to
could
the
be
mining farm.
true in Iowa, folks. Before you all apply,
Exactly.
make sure you know what you're applying for.
So there's that. And what the second question was, what would I do differently? Maybe.
Yeah. What would you do differently if you were starting a farm again, and the challenge of running a farm?
So for me, I have all these great ideas and it's amazing. And as I've been able to grow my management capabilities, I've gotten better at tackling them. But I would say, as a young entrepreneur, the best thing you can do is to focus on getting one business to cash flow very well, and make sure that that loop, that funnel is self-functioning, that you have the right people in charge of it before you try to do something else. I think in multiple times in my career, I've put up a project, got it 95% of the way there, and was like, oh, this is good. It's good to go. And then you kind of get distracted with something else, becomes less sexy. So when you make those commitments, you want to make sure you finish all the way through. And then as a young entrepreneur, I was running around a lot more, trying to handle everything, saying yes to everything. You really want to say no to a lot and focus on what you're desiring. What are you trying to build here? What do you really want to do? And so say no unless it's a hell yes. And then also just breathe, man. Just like, as a young entrepreneur, you're always trying to do everything, trying to figure out how to grow, maybe how to make the money, whatever you're trying to do. But at the end of the day, breathe. Just focus on your breath, meditation, that you're really making sure you're coming back to like being grounded, that no matter what happens, like I said, the fear is the mind killer. Everything will work out. In a business, you get to experience super highs and super lows, but that's part of running a business. And especially when you're self-funding it, like the business, I have not taken much outside capital. And so it's really been self-funded, where we make $5 here in the business, we'll put it to here and keep growing the business. But once you sell equity and you get that kind of cash cushion, it's a little bit different than if you're just running, the mom and pop shop, or if you're running a self-funded business. So those are kind of my advice and what I would do differently.
Those are awesome. And I didn't turn into a full-time entrepreneur until I was about like 29, 28, 29, 2017, when I, got out of active duty. And I would say probably in the last year or so, learned some of those things. Saying no to things. I was saying yes to too many things. And one thing I did learn the hard way was, you need to focus on one thing and build it up first. When I first left the military, I've been in the military and football the whole time. I was like, all right, I've been wanting to do all these ideas my whole life. I got 5 different directions, and it was just like you said, 90% here. All right, I got to start this. This gets boring. All right, 80% here, 50% there, and it just wears you thin. So I'm with you as far as definitely focus on one thing, make it so that, I don't have to work anymore, or I can just do this job. And then that's when you start the next part-time. So I'm with you on that. All right, last couple of questions here. Finn, I'll give you one. I saw this one. How would you rank the different sources of energy usage from best to worst? I imagine this changes over time, though.
Best to worst. So solar energy, there's something that I would tell everyone to go look up, or I'm going to tell everyone to go look up. It's called energy. It's energy with an M. It's how much energy goes into making any type of asset. So steel has an energy value. Solar panels have an energy value. Energy, like when you build a solar panel, you actually are putting more energy into the solar panel than you actually can ever get out of it. So some energy sources just are really ineffective. So I would say focus on nuclear, one of the best sources of energy, fusion coming out, really good source of energy, geothermal with El Salvador, great source of energy. Then you got hydro, which is amazing, constant, steady. Those are the 4 best energy sources, I think, that as society we should be focused on. Each one has pros and cons to it, but they're renewable and they're 24/7. Solar and wind, as I mentioned, solar takes more energy to create it. And wind farms are great, and they're what we're using now because they're very abundant and there are a lot of them out there. Then you have natural gas, coal, and all those other fossil fuel-based energy systems, which we're trying to move away from. So Bitcoin miners are going to help the energy transition, focus on the 4 core energy systems that are renewable and can make it 24/7.
So Warriors, do you still not believe Bitcoin's AI when we keep telling you that you're going to be working for somebody younger 9 times out of 10? Like, accept it, swallow your pride. It's okay. They got it. They know what they're doing. We're in good hands, folks. This is crazy. Ashley K said, downloading this episode right away. Cannot thank you enough for this. Larry N said, JP is family now. You already know. Everybody's saying the same thing. Again, I don't want to keep you any longer, folks. As I said, I did a lot of B-roll, got a lot of video. I couldn't get as much as I wanted because I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I ain't built for this cold shit. I make too much money, life's good. I'm not gonna be in the cold just sitting there. All right. Like I tried it for 10 minutes. But no, seriously, I got the footage, folks. Once I edit that footage and throw it to JP to take a quick peek, we'll probably add a couple of quotes from him on this episode, do a little sound over narration or whatever, and we'll put that out. It won't be as I've seen some other YouTube videos of people who came to your mining facility with the drone and they did that's amazing. If you all want to see better footage, there's better footage out there. I have some pretty good footage though, but this is what I care more about, was actually just speaking to the man, hearing his thought process on how he started this, where it's going, and so on and so forth. Other than that, JP, I'll let you get the last word, last messaging out. Again, I already put the funder link in the chat, the We Funder, but we'll also put that in the description, as well as we found the, thank you, Leroy and Alec, we found the miningstore.com/careers as well. So we'll make sure to do that. And then also, Alec, if you're listening, if you can go ahead and put this on the podcast, that'd be great. And shout out to Ali Pio, who just secured a job too. Ali Pio is one of our longtime warriors. Shout out to you all as well. All right. So with that being said, JP, what can you leave us with? We're listening. We are listening to the wizard.
Keep stacking sats every day. If it's mining or if it's buying Bitcoin, 100%, never stop. Bitcoin it's easy to get caught in the ups and downs. Focus on the long term. Remember, you're buying Bitcoin today for yourself in 10 years. And then kind of on that 10-year thing is, what is your 10-year plan? What is your impact on the world? Don't let fear take over your mind. As I mentioned, fear is the mind killer. Focus on being abundant. Focus on empowering yourself every day. And at the end of the day, remember, we're all humans. We're all people. We're all trying to do this. I know as much as you know as much as me. We just have different experiences. And we take those experiences and our perception on reality and our perception on these ideas builds who we are. So at the end of the day, do what you love, be abundant, and make value, create value for the world. That's all I got to leave you with, King. Thanks again, my man.
Hey, make sure you smash that like and share. I'm not saying nothing else. That was the button. Smash that like and share. You're not getting this nowhere else. Thank you, JP Baric, for hosting me here at your mining farm and coming on the Gentleman of Crypto. We definitely have to have you back. I mean, this is truly amazing. So we definitely appreciate it. There it is. Thank you, folks. Thanks, Crypto Warriors, for all the great questions.